Hello, Blitz fans of all ages, it's me, PlumCastle, and this is the WT Ritter, one of my favorite Tier 9s and favorite tank destroyers as well, which is actually saying quite a bit because, as some of you may know, I am not a tank destroyer fan, so when I like a tank destroyer, generally speaking, it kind of does stand out. As you will see in a second here, if we take a look at the stats, there's one stat that sticks out far above the rest, and that is the damage per minute, sitting at about 3,500 damage. In my case, it's 3,563. As an idea, that is ludicrous. That is an insane amount, and very few tanks in the game actually get even close to that. It is a very, very high damage per minute. But, of course, why am I talking about this tank? Well, because there is the potential possibility that you could get this tank for yourself, which is, of course, really cool. Not only that, the 50 TP prototype is also possible, as well as Super Hellcat, which we'll take a look at in a minute. Now, in case you didn't know, these two tanks right here actually have a bit of a tie to each other in that they come from very similar events. The 50 TP prototype came out first, and it was a clan event, and of course you worked with your clan trying to get platoons, medals, and all that jazz. And basically, if you did enough of that and pretty much only spent time playing the game, you could get this particular tank right here. And then, I don't know, what was it, like a year and a half, 2 years later? I don't quite remember the length of time, but either way, a while later, a very similar event came out for this particular tank, which of the two, I would say, for me personally, I like the Ritter better. So the fact that we can get these again is pretty cool. But of course, now that I've explained that you can get them, let's go ahead and take a look at how we actually do it. Now, you might be able to see already in my garage there is a new event. So underneath my username right here, there is this icon. Now, this particular page right here is a little bit vague, I will say. It'll make sense in just a second as I explain what all this means, but to get a better understanding, we're actually going to have to click that little separate article thing underneath here. It's going to take us to this. So as you can see, there we go again in the image here, the prototype and the Super Hellcat, and you can see right here as well, 50 TP prototype, the Super Hellcat, and of course the WT Ritter, and all of these are in events. So stat-wise, I'm not really going to dig into these too far. If you want to pause the video, you can certainly look over these brief analyses. I'm not sure what the plural form of that is. Either way, the analysis for each of these tanks or the stats for them, and you can pause it and look at them there. Overall, though, the Ritter does definitely stand out for having that damage per minute, though its armor is fairly thin. Now, do note, if at any point you get these tanks again, you will get 5,000 for the 50 TP prototype, which is pretty cool. 1.9 million for the Super Hellcat, kind of makes sense, it's the tier 7, and then 5,000 gold for the Ritter, so that is pretty cool. So what's going to happen here is, of course, you're going to want to be doing clan missions and stuff like that. So to get the 50 TP prototype or the Super Hellcat or a heap of resources, which I'll talk about in a second, you can earn these combat trophies by completing clan missions, which is super cool. So complete clan missions, get these little combat trophies, go to the store, and then you can change for one of the 3 bundles we're about to discuss. And so the amount of these that you get 1 combat trophy per each daily mission, 10 per weekly mission, and then 10 for your overall clan progress. And I will show this in the game in just a second in case you're curious. And the more active your clan is, obviously, the more of these you're going to be able to get. And then, of course, you can exchange them in the store. So, of these, which do I think is the best? Well, let's start with this bottom one here. They are currently available. Perfect. And I forgot to mention the time frame for this is, if we take a look here, it is from September 4th to 18th. So that's the amount of time that you're going to have for this event. But if we come back to the store here, and it should be around here somewhere. Either way, I will find it in just a second. But anyway, like I said, the idea here is that you're going to be able to exchange your emblems for the tanks. And the first one here is this power buildup. Honestly, looking at what's here, unless you're grinding through something, 85 of these emblems, meh, and I'll explain why I wouldn't. If you can only afford this, I would just not get it at all, and I'll explain why in a second. It's actually very important. Super Hellcat, 1,700. I don't have the tank, but it doesn't take much to know that this tank doesn't really stand out in Tier 7. It's certainly not a bad tank from what I can gather, but when you can get the Tier 6 Hellcat for free and then you have to deal with Smashers less often, it's probably going to be better to go that way. And then, of course, the 50 TP prototype. I mean, this tank is... I mean, I have it. I don't personally perform the greatest in it, but I do know of all of these 3 bundles that this one is definitely the best. Yes, it's the most expensive, but, I mean, 170 to 225, that's a jump of, let's see, 55. Yeah, that's not much of a jump to be getting a much, much better tank. Now, do note, if you do fall short, you could get these combat trophies. I, again, would not suggest it. 2,500 gold for 30 of those is not super fantastic. Now, I need to explain why I would suggest, if you can only afford this one, to not get it, even though you can. Because generally speaking, as we've seen with a lot of events, generally speaking, you can not actually accumulate in this case, it's the emblems or whatever currency it may be, and keep them, generally speaking, when the event's over. Poof, they're gone. Wargaming takes them away, and they're worthless because you don't have them. Not in this case. In this case, and I just happened to click on this, what will happen to the combat trophies when the event ends? They will stay in your garage just in case you need them again, smiley face. So, that is telling me something huge. One, that if you do fall short and can only afford the smallest one, that you don't necessarily need to spend it because you'll lose everything because you'll keep it. But that's also telling me that there's probably going to be more events like this. Possibly with new tanks. Who knows? Wargaming tends to like to change things up a bit. But that does tell me that there's probably going to be more of these. I don't know how frequently, but it does definitely seem like Wargaming is planning to get more of them. But now we come to the important part of the video, how to get the Ritter itself, because that's kind of the main one here. And naturally, it's also the hardest, because you can't get it through the store like you could the rest. In this case, it's going to be based on overall clan activity, kind of like the other ones were. So to get the Ritter, you win in a clan platoon. The more clan players you have that are fighting and winning in platoons, the better the chances of picking up the tank destroyer and some containers. So basically, the top 10 clans on your particular server will be getting rewards. So if you are in 6th to 10th, you won't get the Ritter. However, you will get 3 collect them all containers. And do keep in mind, that's not 3 containers split up amongst the potentially 50 people in your clan. To my knowledge, that is 3 per person, which is really, really fantastic. 4th and 5th places get the WT Ritter plus 1 collect them all container. So, of course, that's where the tanks start. You want to be in the top 5 clans to get the tank, and then everyone in the clan would get a tank. I don't know if there's a requirement that they had to participate in any way. 3rd place is going to get a Ritter plus a unique clan logo and avatar, which is really, really cool. 2nd place gets a WT Ritter, a unique clan logo and avatar, 2 collect them all containers, so the stakes are going up. And then lastly, if you are in like the top 1 clan, you're going to be getting the WT Ritter, a unique a unique clan logo and avatar, and 3 collect them all containers. All super cool stuff. So overall, in terms of clan activity, compared to every other clan-based event that I've seen, this one's like huge. Very, very big, very, very cool. And honestly, I don't think I've seen something quite this scale when it comes to clans, aside from maybe like professional tournaments. And generally speaking, that's kind of like limited to the best clans. This one's just free reign. Anyone who's active can do it. If you're inactive, you can do it too, technically speaking. It really doesn't hinder anyone from being able to do this, which is super cool. And like I said, in order to get those, if you come down to your clan missions here, underneath each of these is a second one that'll give you trophies and stuff like that. So theoretically, that's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 times 10 is 100, so 100 of those in a week, which is pretty cool. Plus, I think it's 10 for this, 10 for that. Yeah, that's 120. And these will cycle daily. So yeah, you can get quite a bit of stuff, which is super cool. But anyway, that does conclude the video. Rather long and in-depth video, but I wanted to make sure that this hopefully made as much sense as possible. But with that said, that does conclude the video, and so with that, hope you all enjoyed, and as always, have fun, good luck, and happy tanking.